Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, this episode, you know what? I'm just gonna start off with Sunny because Sunny is just doing whatever Sunny wants to do. Okay, he runs into Leo, and Leo's like, I don't think you should be drinking from that fountain because it's kind of bad news. They don't really wash that thing, and it's it's just not good. It's just not a good idea. So Ned comes up behind him. They start chit chatting a little bit. Um, and then and then Sonny gets into what he's planning on doing for Carly, his grand gesture. Now Ned was like, yeah, here's the thing about those grand gesture things. They don't necessarily always work out. He talks about his experience with Olivia. They're very similar as far as being strong willed, this, that, and the third. Um, it's like, at the end of the day, it's not about the gesture. It's just about listening. Now, Ned is dropping some jewels of wisdom, and you would think Sonny being in the position that he's in, which is not good, he would listen. But no, 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 not Sonny. Sonny is just, you can call it arrogance, pig-headedness, whatever you want to sit there and call it. He's just like, yeah, well, what you and Olivia do is what I do, but me and Carly got our own thing. I'm like, bro, he's literally like your situations are very similar. They're not the same, but they're similar enough. Of when you screw up, maybe you should sit there and listen to him. Now, everybody and their mother has been telling him to just step back, give her some time and space. Ned said the same thing. That's what she wants. So why aren't you listening? Well, of course not, because Sonny wants what Sonny wants. Um, Now, before I sound like a total hypocrite, I get the need. I get the knee jerk reaction to try to fix things. Um, I've been in situations like that where I feel like if I just talk it out, in a logical way, that we could sit there and come to some sort of understanding. And the problem with that is that you have tunnel vision, you know, and that's the issue. So I'm not sitting there saying that I'm immune to that, you know, but I do tend to try to listen to what people are saying when you have outside forces, other people besides whoever you're sitting there trying to get back together with, telling you, bro, breathe, give yourself some, give her some time and space, and you know, see how it plays out, you know. And over the years, I've had to do that. It's trust me, it's not the easiest thing to do to sit there and just sit and wait and wonder and hope for the best. But sometimes you kind of just gotta take the knee, take the L, and be like, you know what? If it's meant to work out, it's meant to work out. It's not the easiest thing in the world to sit there and accept, but you know what? Sometimes it's the most necessary um, move that you can sit there and make. Sonny, on the other hand, is just like, nah, I'm not with any of that. So he winds up calling Carly. And, he's like, yeah, I know, you want us some time and space. And Carly's like, yep, and you're still calling. Sonny's like, just meet me on Friday. Give me an hour. Give me an hour. That's all I asked for. Give me an hour. So Carly is like, you know what? Screw it. I want to make him more agitated. And if this will just kind of quiet him for a little bit, sure. So she agrees to meet on Friday because Sonny wants what Sonny wants. Now it seemed pretty obvious that Michael has picked a side, Carly's side. I will. The thing that really sucks about this whole situation is that it really shouldn't be about sides. You know, it's two people that's going through a rough spot in their marriage. You know, Sonny did something that caused Carly to be upset, but a lot of the stuff that happened up until some of the stuff that happened wasn't on Sonny. Like Sonny did not choose to lose his memory and fall in love with another woman and spend time together and have these feelings. That's kind of outside of Sonny's control because a lot of that had to do with Nina. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of hard to sit there and pick sides, or it's kind of hard to even sit there and want there to be sides to pick. But unfortunately, you know, at the end of the day, the cards that you got are the cards that you got, and Sonny is just making some really bad moves. So with that being said, Michael picks a side, and Carly says the same thing that she's been saying for the past 2 weeks. I'm not ready to sit there and go back to being Sonny when Sonny has not fixed his mending his broken heart over Nina, and she's not going to sit there and watch. And I think we all can sit there and agree with that. So they're talking about that for a little bit. Michael plans on taking her to Paris, but now Willow can't find her birth certificate. Hell, actually, to tell you the truth, she said that there's no record of her birth certificate, which is kind of odd because I'm like, how did you get married? I don't get that. Um, I don't know. I also tell you too. And if I'm wrong about her just saying like there's no record, let me just double check my damn notes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she said. She said that there was no record of a birth certificate, but yet y'all somehow got married. How was that a thing? Didn't she get married twice? One to Chase and the other to Michael, or Michael and Chase? I remember. No, she didn't get married to Michael, but I'm pretty sure she got married to Chase though. So what exactly happened? No, she did get married to Michael. My God, it's been so long, and she's been going between both of them for so long. Point is, I don't understand how she got married to either of those men without a birth certificate. I really don't. And yeah, she did get married to Michael. They had an annulment. So I don't know what's going on with that. Ben and Liz, they talk about Franco and how there's a lot. Pretty much what Liz says that she's had a lot of baggage with her between all the stuff with Franco and everything like that. But Fenn is like, nah, it's cool. Just after they talk about the fire being done at Franco's studio and Liz trying to protect what little artwork that is left. So they talk about that. They decide to go on another date, and Liz is by herself. She hears something at the door. So she goes to the door, but now there's one point where it looks like the camera, like somebody is walking behind Liz or following Liz. So I have no idea what's going on. I know somebody in the comment section said that it could be in her head, like she could just be blacking out or whatever, which is a possibility, or somebody could really be trying to mess with her. Now, if I had to sit there and take a guess on who is trying to mess with her, I would sit there and say Heather Weber. I would sit there and that would come to mind. So Trina finally comes out of her room, and Jocelyn and Trina clear the air. I'm gonna be honest, this, like I said, I've seen better teen drama on Degrassi, so this is just all this really comes down to is Jocelyn feels kind of bad, like she, um, came in like she stole Trina's crush away from her. That's what it really came down to it being about. But Trina's like, listen, it happened, or like pretty much she's just willing to put it behind her, like, yo, it's not a big deal. We realized we weren't right for each other, and she's happy for both of them being together, and she'll just, have to accept that she is going to be the odd woman out. I'm like, maybe you should try smiling more. That's just an idea. I mean, like I said, she's a very pretty and beautiful woman. She is smart. Um, and in a lot of ways, I feel like she is more relatable, like more of a better character because she's more relatable than somebody like Jocelyn. Now, I'm gonna sit there and just quickly talk about my comment about the resting bitch face. Do not take that away. That's exactly how I felt. Um, here's the thing: when I sit there and say that, that doesn't sit there and take away the amazing character that I think that she is. And in a lot of ways, like I said, I find her to be a better character than Jocelyn. I, I mean, at the end of the day, it's three is a crowd, regardless of the situation. So, maybe she could sit there and do something about that. In this way, she doesn't make them also feel weird and awkward. But with that being said, they kind of just squash it. They're friends. Nothing's going to change that. So they're moving on past that. Now, Jocelyn sits there and she sits there and thinks that Esme, set that whole thing up. You know, Cam comes in, he gives a toast to best friends forever, and yada yada yada. So that's all good. Yeah, they're all good now. So I'm glad because I'm gonna be honest. In the beginning of that conversation, I was like, Ugh, we're really gonna sit there and revisit that. Like we're really going back to that. And you know what? Honestly, tell you the truth, here's the thing. I get that Jocelyn Smith, you're trying to be a good person, and she feels bad because she felt like she kind of came in between them. But at the end of the day, that's life. That's exactly what ended up happening. Um, and I don't really feel like in a lot of ways you should feel bad about that because in reality, if Trina actually had a problem with Jocelyn coming in between them, then Trina probably should have said something. Instead of sitting there saying, "Oh well, it's fine," and I had to sit there and pretend that anything was a lot different. Like, no, you could just use your words. It's not like I haven't seen you use it before. Anyway, like I said, I'm just so glad that they moved on past that because yeah, it was starting to get on my damn nerves. Oh, Spencer. I felt like I was about to spit out that damn water. This guy, every day, I feel like he just proves more and more and more. I am so trying not to curse. It was just how much of a spineless bastard he really is. So, after him calling out Esme, partly on Smith to ask questions like, did you set that up with Trina? Did you do this? Did you do that? You're really hard. You brought up a lot of stuff. Esme does what Esme does best, plays the victim. Plays the victim and says, you didn't sit there and stick up for me. When Jocelyn was there calling me names and stuff like that, you didn't stick up for me. And Spencer's like, well, I did, but I'm like, no, not really. Not really. You tried to play peacemate. You tried to play peacekeeper, which you did an awful job at. But now, because Esme's not there playing victim, he turns into a spineless coward, and it's like, well, first of all, Esme practically is like, I don't want to sit there and go home with you anymore. And Spencer's like, are you just saying you want to break up with me? And Esme's like, well, why shouldn't I? And that's the point where he turns into a spineless coward and starts practically begging her to stay. I was such a bad boyfriend to you. I didn't listen to you. This, that, and the third. And Esme even actually says, you know how many guys would be lucky to actually have somebody um as loyal as her? And I was like, bro, she just threw in your face that she could just sit there and get any other guy. You cool with that? You cool with that? Cause I can just see a man just going down, 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 down. I'm not seeing it anymore. That's how I'm sitting there looking at him, and he practically begs her to stay. Um, And I felt like that was Esme's plan all along. I felt like it was. I felt like in a lot of ways it was. And it worked. It worked. It got him to be back in line or back under her heel, um, just the way she likes it. And yeah, you know, there was a time period where I actually did kind of like Spencer a little bit, like when he was sitting there talking to Trina, helping her out with the whole Portia thing, like just giving some valuable words of wisdom. And I was like, wow, that was actually pretty good. Those days seem so far away now at this point. So, can somebody sit there and tell me why they actually still like Spencer, or what good qualities that Spencer actually has? Because I'm going to be honest, that was months ago, almost nearly a year ago. So, can somebody sit there and explain, or if anyone actually likes Spencer, can somebody please tell me why? Because I would like to know. And we're not using looks, okay? That is out the window. I want to actually hear some qualities about like why you specifically like Spencer. And since YouTube has been good as far as allowing me to read the comment section, I will be sitting there reading those comments. YouTube doesn't have its way. Um, yeah, I did talk about Finn, right? I have a feeling like I talked about Liz, and I could have just not even called Finn by his actual name. Anyway, they plan on going on another date, so yeah, that's great. So Curtis and Stella and Marshall. Bottom line is, Curtis and Marshall seem like they're, getting along. Curtis tells Marshall not to sit there and disappear. Marshall agrees that he's not going to do that. He's talking about laying down some roots. They bring up Epiphany's name. And, Marshall says a comment, something along the lines of, the longer I'm staying, the more, I'm having a reason to stay, as far as like more people and stuff like that to get to know. So they seem like they're hitting off, which is great. And I kind of want to sit there and remember that moment. I kind of want to sit there and remember that moment where they're sitting there just laughing and they're just talking and just having a good time because we all know that that's not going to last too long. So I would kind of like to keep that little bitch in my head. Stella gets no Phyllis. You talk about Curtis being a nightclub owner. Um, and at some point, Curtis talks to Phyllis about Nina, making sure she's okay and how is she doing and stuff like that. I'm like, Curtis, if you really were that concerned, why couldn't you sit there and like talk to her directly? Why are you talking to her friends for? I get that he had a lot of stuff on his plate. But I'm like, bro, a text or a phone call would have really saved yourself a lot of trouble. You sit there getting secondhand information from Phyllis, like, oh, well, how's Nina doing with everything? Why don't you just ask her? Like, and then he gets answers like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Like, is that supposed to make you feel better knowing that she's okay? Why don't you go and. I feel like that was just ass backwards. Um, but yeah. So Carly Michael, Carly, Michael, and Willow. Damn, I almost forgot her name. I was about to sit there and say Sunny for some odd reason. Um, now it was kind of nice that Carly and Willow kind of cleared the air and stuff like that. Like Willow once again apologized for her not saying anything, and Carly was like, it's cool because at the end of the day, it wasn't your, what I'm saying, it wasn't her place. It wasn't her place, and Sunny should have sat there and said something. And Willow was like, do you think that eventually he would have said something, with just a lot of stuff that was going on? Now, me and Carly pretty much said the same thing. That Sonny just said excuses, 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 excuses. More or less to sit there and protect Nina. Okay, he didn't want to sit there and have to deal with that difficult decision. So unfortunately, he waited too long, and it blew up in his face. Um, and I thoroughly enjoyed that scene. I really did. especially him sitting there trying to, get her out the courtroom, trying to run her out of there, like Carly stumbled upon his porn stash or something, and it was just like, oh no, you can't see that. It's nothing, nothing. I don't know what that stuff. I think that's Michael. It's like, come on, bro. At that point, I'm like, so yeah, Carly practically was like, that's on Sunny. Um, and I'm pretty sure I said this before, but if I didn't, Michael and Carly talked, and more or less, not Carly, Michael was like, listen, me and Dante talked to Sonny, and we told him about giving you space. Um, Carly was like, yeah, well, Sonny's not known for patience. I mean, yeah, I get that people don't have patience towards a lot of things, but I mean, damn. You just been cool with that? Like, most of your life, just Sonny just sits there and says, I want something now, and you just like, nah, that's cool, I'm just gonna go with it. Like, hell, Michael felt so bad, he was like, you could sit there and live here with us. Um, Carly owns a hotel, and she was like, I'm staying at the nicest suite there, so I'm good. Um, anyway, I guess it would be kind of odd, Carly living at the Quartermains. I mean, I know that they're living in a boathouse, but it's still on the property of the Quartermains, and Carly's history with the Quartermains is pretty bad. Okay, it is pretty bad. So yeah, Carly definitely did the right thing. But I was going to go on with that whole birth certificate thing now. I mean, if you've been on YouTube, you've seen a lot of these spoilers, these cheek spoilers, where they just come up with some wild theories. One of the floating theories that have been going on has been, Nina's daughter is really Willow's. And I'm just like, the sad thing is that I feel like if they wanted to, they can find a way to fit that in there, which would make very little to no sense because I just here's the thing. I can see how that might work, but I'm just like it would be also kind of stupid, you know. The hell is her damn name? Oh, Harmony. Like Harmony just somehow. Anyway, I'm not even gonna sit there and try to hurt my brains into thinking about that. But I feel like that's one of the floating theories. And now that her birth certificate is in question, um, that's going to be one of the theories that's going to go on. The question is, do you think that that theory is true? Do you think that I cannot believe I'm saying this? Do you believe that Willow is really Nina's daughter? If that's so. Honestly, to tell you the truth, nothing is ever going to make up for the fact that Nina tried to get her fired. Like nothing, nothing is going to make up for that. Like in my eyes, anyway. Yeah, I do kind of hold on to certain grudges. Anyway, with that being said, I think that's about it. So, thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.